People, AITA Pod will be in Phoenix Friday and Tucson Saturday. This Friday, July 14th and 15th. Come see our shows. If you don't, then I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Jake and Shannon to come out again. So you know how they are. They're very reclusive. Actually, they just have lives and I don't. Speaking of me not having a life, yes, people, I will be in a series of PNW, which, by the way, if you're wondering, stands for Powerful Naughty Wins. I will be there August 10th, Woodinville, Washington, August 11th, Salem, Oregon. Ticket links are in the description. I love you. I will see you there. Goodbye and good night and good morning and good afternoon. I'm on one. Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by Shannon D and a very special guest,
That's
Shannon's
right.
sister,
Chelsea D.
What?
Just kidding. It's not
Do
our last
stage
name.
names transfer? I don't know how that
No,
works.
they don't. It's Chelsea Holman Lewis, folks.
She's in the
Ooh-wee.
house.
Surf
It's your
Queen
girl.
is here, people.
She's here.
Well, we got into some surf stuff on the bonus, but you guys wrote that you had some stories, so I'm pretty intrigued about this. You wrote, pretending to be twins to our neighbor. Oh, you Lewis girls are up to no good.
Well, basically, we were just trying to think of some like AITAs, and we kind of realized that there's most of the situations it was just so blatant that we were the assholes.
There's no
That was
ambiguity.
pretty hard.
So if you get the two of us, two on one. So sorry, Danny, but in any kind of situation, we often team up on that third person.
Yeah, we were kids, like mostly.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it a little bit of bullying, perhaps, but
Light, fun,
playfulness.
playful.
But it was fun for us.
I'm just still stuck on the pretending to be twins because, like, yeah, you guys pass as sisters,
we
but you
weren't
don't look
pretending
like
to be twins.
Oh.
We had a next door neighbor named Mark Longacre.
He was the most gullible kid. So cute.
He was so cute, but
Hi,
like
guys.
kind of. He was an only child. Was he only a child? I think he was only a
Or
child.
maybe he had a super younger sibling.
Well, anyway, he just
Yeah.
didn't know the ropes, you know? We had to
Okay.
teach this kid the ropes.
I don't know the ropes.
And so,
Like, he didn't know the basics.
and so he would come over and we somehow pretended that I had a twin
named Janet.
named Janet.
Oh.
And so when we'd be hanging out with him, I'd be like, oh, I got to go grab something.
And then
I would
Janet would
change into and then Janet would
hello,
come.
Janet. That's a good prank. I like it.
And I don't know. I mean, he must have found out eventually.
Yeah, I think eventually. Although in the beginning, he wasn't being super gullible. I think he wasn't believing at first. And then we just went on with the bit for so long.
So long.
Yeah, that I think he started either playing along just because it was probably fun for him, or he
Or
really
just
did
like,
start.
okay, I guess this is true. But well, how come I never see them in the room together?
Yeah. It's like it's been 4 hours.
I think we always had an excuse as to why you were never together.
Yes.
I don't know.
And then we had another neighbor across the street, Julia. And so our next door neighbors were our best friends. One was Chelsea's age, the girl, and then the younger guy was my age. And Julia across the street, she was younger than all of us. And she was kind of odd, like a little bit of a weird kid. And she had a big crush on Petey, our neighbor.
Okay.
And so we would like tell her that he had a crush on her too.
Wait, I remember that.
And
We
then
did.
she would run. And then this one day,
Well, she would run after him and try to kiss him. That
Yeah.
was not us,
No.
though. We did not provoke that.
oh, we didn't. I'm pretty sure we told him that we did.
Oh, well,
that she
I think
he
she
had
did
a
that on
crush
her own accord, though.
Okay.
And so, but this is how she, instead of kissing, She'd go, ma, 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 ma. Like that was how she was kissing. Ma, ma,
Weren't
ma,
you
ma.
kids? I got lost.
Oh
at
yeah,
the
we
timeline.
were young.
Yeah, we were little kids.
We were little assholes, Danny. This is what we're trying to tell you.
She was like 7 years old, kissing mama.
like trying to kiss him. Yeah. And so she was chasing him around
Because you told her, you lied to her that he liked
That he
her, so
liked
she
her.
starts chasing mama.
So she starts running out, and and Petey's upset because he doesn't want this little girl trying to kiss him, and plus he's gay. He didn't say that at the time, but he is now.
Yeah.
So he definitely didn't want to kiss this girl. And there was only like a few years gap in between these two. So she's running around, and then we managed to lock them in the closet.
Well, I don't know how we got them in there in the first place,
my
but we did.
God, you
and they
locked
were
them in the
locked in the
closet,
closet.
and then what happened?
We don't know.
I
We
think she
just
tried.
traumatized them, I'm
she
sure.
tried like grabbing onto him and like kissing him, and yeah, I mean he was very upset.
Okay, welcome to Am I the Trauma Causing Kid podcast?
Jeez, yeah, sorry guys.
Wow.
Yeah, we
That
are
was
very
wild.
sorry that we did that. No.
I mean, we all do messed up stuff as kids, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I like pressured my friend to jump off our stairs. I wouldn't do it. But it was like we had a landing. So there was like one flight landing, other flight down. And I was like, just jump. It'll be fine. And then she jumped and it wasn't fine. She like sprained her leg or whatever. She was like, not like, you know, she didn't have to go to the hospital, but she was injured for days.
Oh no!
And then they were like, why didn't you do it? I was like, oh, it didn't seem like a good idea.
That was a great idea for her.
Oh my god!
I was like the opposite though. I'd be like, yeah, guys, you should do this. And then no one would do it. And I'd be like, all right, I'll do it then.
I'll just do it.
I'll just do it.
Yeah, she's the
And
daredevil.
I'd be like, oh, well, I guess that was a dumb idea, but
Yeah, well, she's always influencing us to do all of that stuff. Like, I think I've talked about the tire swing in the backyard with the shed and the trampoline and jump swinging off onto that. But surprisingly, no one ever got hurt.
Yeah, did you guys, you know, my brother broke a bone when he was like 7 and I've never broken anything. Have you guys
What?
broken anything? Yeah.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
broken a ton.
Of course.
well, wrist,
Arm,
finger,
knee.
Oh, is this all
Foot.
surfing or what's this
No,
from?
and she
I'll
was
tell you this much.
younger.
Yeah.
I will. This is my big promotion for surfing. It is one of the safest sports.
Is that true?
I mean, as far as injuries go,
Yeah.
Unless you're like, okay, so when you're very
You
first
might
learning,
drown, but you won't get
if
hurt.
you're not a good swimmer and you go out in rough conditions, you can drown for sure. But like as far as like when you're first learning, that's probably one of the times prime for possibly getting hurt.
Of course.
But
yeah.
because you're not good, so you might make mistakes, do things that maybe cause some injury. But often it's not like you're going to the hospital. Like you get a little banged up, bruised up. But then if you're like more pro level or you're going on like big waves,
Right.
then yeah, your chance of injury goes up. But like everybody else, that's most of us, is like in the middle,
Very
chilling.
safe.
You're
Yeah.
falling on water, and it's one of the reasons you can do the sport like until you're in your 70s, 80s sometimes. Like
That's great.
but so as far as surfing goes, I've only had a few injuries and they weren't too horrible. But yeah, most of my broken bones have none of them have been from surfing.
The only thing I ever
But-
broke was my collarbone when I was like 2.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Falling
and then
off a
like a
bed.
toe and like a finger before, but other than that, never.
I'm
Falling off a
gonna
bed.
I'm gonna run a new joke by you just because you brought up the water thing. I got a buddy who's like a cliff diver. He jumps off the cliffs into the water, and he goes, "You got to be careful though. From 40 feet, that water down there, that's like concrete." I was like, "No, I don't think so, man. I think that water down there, I think that's more like water, right? Like, I don't think if you were up on a skyscraper, like, oh shit, be careful. If you fall from the 10th floor, that down there, you know what that's like? That'd be like falling on water.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I've jumped off of 40-foot heights and it's not
Yeah.
concrete. No.
no.
Well, you go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Enough, Brian. Enough. It's water down there, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
Maybe when like the concrete's being poured, maybe that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, because you think you can land belly flop 40 feet? It
Oh,
won't kill you?
that would be
you
bad,
would
though.
It'd be
break
bad. It'd be
something.
That would
40
be bad.
feet's a lot.
You
40
do have
feet's
to
a lot.
land the right way, especially when it's from a certain height.
What do you
But-
do? Feet first?
Yeah, and you want to like plunge in like properly.
Dead on,
yeah,
right?
like you don't want to be
pencil
off
dive.
at all,
Pencil?
and you don't want to have your pencil. You don't want to have like those legs spread at all either because
Ooh, ow, ouchie, not the boys.
that is no good.
Yikes.
You're gonna be
Well,
getting an enema for sure.
We want to remind you, we have timestamps in the description.
Yep.
You can skip the banter in case you don't want to hear it.
After we
What?
just did the banter.
Yeah, I guess most
But
of
this
it's done
banter's
now.
bad.
But we're reminding you in case you're annoyed.
I know,
they're
everyone gets
always
so
there.
mad
Everyone gets
about
so
it.
mad.
About the
They're there.
banter?
Yeah.
I love the banter.
I think
you so much.
actual listeners love it, but when new listeners come on and they
Yeah,
have no
they
context
hate
for what
us.
we're talking about.
if they don't know you yet,
Yeah,
they got to
well,
get to know you.
Talk about
Yeah.
inside jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like,
They gotta go back.
Get to the situations already.
Speaking of situations, submitting comment on our subreddit. This is going great. I'm so happy we're doing this, Shan. Reddit.com/r/AITA pod. Post your submission there. We'll get to it. We'll respond to it. We'll read it on the show. We love to see it, people. Couple tour dates for all y'all. Friday, June 30th, 7 p.m. I'll be in Henderson, Nevada with Tori Piskin. Saturday, July 1st, Superior, Arizona with Tori Piskin. Thursday, August 10th, Woodinville, Washington. Friday, August 11th, Salem, Oregon. And of course, AITA pod going July 14th to Phoenix and July 15th to Tucson.
Yes, we are. Did you know
stuff.
that?
What? Right after my birthday.
We are taking our show
On the road.
Oh,
we kinda changed the
timing.
name.
I switched it up.
Magic.
I'm sorry.
But we're excited. We're gonna do some stuff today. We're so happy to have Chelsea with us. We got a sister sitch. We got some stuff. We're gonna cover a couple quick little submissions here. AITA for taking my decorations down. I, 21F, used to live with my two other roomies in my college town. One of the roommates politely texted me asking if I could move out and gave me 3 days to decide. Due to the fact that these two roomies are mega normie heteros who would have decked that house out with miscellaneous Bible quotes. They're literally the worst people I've ever met. And Ray Dunn, I basically decorated the whole house. I was bored one day and took all my shit out of the common areas since I was moving out to make a statement that the absence of my presence will leave a huge hole in their lives. And apparently, they're mad at me. Yeah, they have not told me because they're pussies, but it's my shit and they asked me to leave. So I literally have every reason to take my shit down, AITA. I worry that I'm a hetero normie for sure. I guess I am, you know.
Yeah, well, you're not having Bible quotes, but
Yeah, I got Funko Pops now.
We're
from
probably not going to
listeners.
call you mega.
A mega
not
normie.
You guys
Thank
are
you.
mega.
Thank you.
mega.
Actually, Chelsea was just pronouncing MAGA as, what were you saying?
Maga.
MAGA.
She's
MAGA.
a sophisticated woman.
Yeah. Donald Trump's the best. I'm a proud MAGA.
Well, this one's a interesting situation. I'm curious how she knows they're very mad at her. She says they haven't told me, but I guess
Yeah.
maybe by
Maybe
their
they're
actions.
being passive
On the grapevine.
aggressive.
She heard
Yeah.
on the
Or
grapevine.
they said something to someone else and
she heard through the
heard.
grapevine.
I got a roommate story.
Okay.
We kind of broke to my roommate, like, hey,
let's hear it.
we like you, bud. You know, we think we're going to find someone else. So we basically kicked him out.
Ooh.
It was a nice way to do it, but we kicked him out. That night he disappears, comes back. Guys, check it out. I got a new tattoo. Check it out. 140 Ralph.
Wait, where you guys live?
He got the address of the place.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
That's the weirdest thing I ever
We
heard.
went with it. We were like, "That's great. That's great." We're actually kind of happy. I was like, "I'm happy you got good memories here," because and we actually did part on a good note. It was just a little unexpected for him to do it at that point. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
He got it after you told him.
the day after. I'm not exaggerating. It was the day after.
That's crazy.
It felt kind of crazy.
Commemorating, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, we're still on fine terms, but
Does he have a lot of tattoos?
he had several,
So
but
like
not a
they're
lot.
maybe
Yeah.
not that meaningful to him in a lot of ways.
I think so.
Yeah, I always think when people have more tattoos, I'm like, go and get the funny stuff, like get the silly things.
Yeah, go
'Cause
for
why
it.
not?
Goose
like
it
you
up.
already have
Yeah,
a
I'm with
bunch,
that.
but if it's like you only have one or two and that's the one you decided.
I think it was like his 5th or 6th, so maybe it was a little early, but I'm sure he added more to
Yeah,
the.
he
Maybe
was was on his
already.
way.
Like,
He was on a tear.
I'm gonna get a lot.
Yeah, might as well start with this random address.
Now I had to kick out a roommate once.
Yeah,
and that was
she's got a good roommate
unpleasant.
stories. Was this the young one?
Yeah, like this was when. So I lived in a house for a long time. I'm currently actually moving out of. I love the place. But it's
She's
like
been there like what 14
11 years.
Oh,
11 years in that house. So,
oh my God.
But it's like it's a beautiful. I mean, for Hawaii, the rent, the space, like everything. But it's 4 bedrooms, so you have to have like 3 other roommates usually.
No.
It's So. But we got it down to where, okay, let's go 3 roommates and we split the rent. We all pay a little bit more, which worked out great. But long story short, we had this woman.
It's about to be the longest story of your life. Buckle
If you're
in.
anything like your sister.
All the details.
The necessary details.
details.
Just the okay, it was 9:13 a.m., May 2nd, 2007.
It's a family trait. It's
The
bad.
temperature was 76.
It's gotta make the setting, you know? So this chick was cool
Yeah.
at first.
Okay.
But then she's pretty young and we were all getting a little older. And it started being like
You guys are like mid to late, and she was like in
college,
Yeah,
and we were
that's
realizing like
tough.
she needed
Early
to be
20s.
she needed to be taken care of still. She needed like mamas and stuff, and we did not want to be that for
Yeah.
her. So we decided to kick her out, and it got ugly. Unfortunately, it was sort of like, how do you do this? I mean, I'm impressed that you did it in a way that this person like wasn't mad at you after the fact.
Well, remember she was like not ever respecting her as a space, right?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. It was
What did you
definitely-
end up telling her, though?
I think we just like wrote a letter and we let her know, like, I mean, I think I told her, I was like, hey, we're letting you, I mean, we gave her like a whole month, I think.
Yeah,
Because
the 3 days.
we were 3
in this
days is insane.
situation's wild.
That's like, I would
How
never
did
have
she
given
react?
her. I mean, not great. No, she was not happy about it. But it was best for everybody. In the end, like, I think in this situation, like this person is upset.
You got to give us more details. I'm sorry.
But-
I
I know.
want more
Can we hear
juice.
some
We got more
deets?
juice here, Chelsea. I'm sorry.
she's not gonna
You gotta keep it
listen.
real.
No, I know, but like, you know, I
Juice it.
have a short-term memory.
oh, she just can't
You just don't remember?
This was a long time ago. Let me see if I can
She
think.
was.
Like,
She was. You said she was like a mommy. So what did she? Or she
Oh, no,
needed
she
a
wasn't.
mommy.
She
so
needed
she
a
would.
mommy.
needed to
Oh.
be
So she
mommy.
wasn't
So-
doing the dishes.
okay.
What did she do?
Yeah, she would just. Well, she would. Actually, I think the unfortunate thing was she was constantly like getting injured and then needing to be like
What
taken
the
to the hospital.
What?
And yeah, I mean, it was.
I wasn't expecting
I don't know.
that.
Sounds like she has Munchausen syndrome.
Yeah, I think she would get. I think she might have been bipolar, to be honest, because she would be cool one moment, and then the next moment she would just kind
Diagnosing.
of be not cool at
Yeah.
all. So and you just never know what
She
you
was
would
all
get.
over the place.
So
You never knew you were
it
gonna
just made
get.
it super uncomfortable to the point where the other roommates and I just were like, we don't want to live with this anymore. So it's not that juicy, I guess, but
Oh, yeah, but you would call us like
yeah.
venting.
Oh,
No, it was
no.
yeah, the
bad. It
family
was
knew. The family knew
miserable.
that I was like really
It's
upset
tough.
that time.
Yeah, when you're dealing with.
when you're living with people who
Exhausting.
you're uncomfortable with,
It's the worst.
it's brutal. Like I
Yeah.
had a roommate in like a decade ago at this point, and I remember I would like turn the corner and you could see our apartment, and I would just be like praying that the light was off, that she wasn't home.
No.
I couldn't stand her. She was awful.
We hate when the home is ruined.
Uncomfy.
It kind of sound, honestly, OP, I like you. You sound edgy. You know, you're calling everybody normie, heteros. You're probably queer and you're cool and you're hip. But, and I hope you're right that, you know, these sound like uber normies and, you know, but you didn't do anything wrong. Bottom line. I don't know. I got to be
Yeah,
honest, OP.
no,
I'm
I
not
mean-
sure I buy that they're that disappointed, but because it kind of sounds like you might be overplaying your hand here. But I hope they are. I hope you're right.
Because I mean, you were told to move out. You
You
started
took
moving
all
your
your
shit out.
It's your shit.
You did what they asked you to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're
maybe
definitely
they're-
not the.
I mean, I feel like maybe they're mad at you for something else. Like, are you leaving out some details about why?
I mean, it
they
sounds like
asked
they
you
don't
to move
vibe.
out?
It sounds like OP is creating this conceptual split where like they're mega normie heteros, and
Right.
you didn't tell us much about yourself, OP, but it sounds like you're not that.
Yeah.
So whatever, that's your right. You know, you're calling them pussies as well, which I'm not a big fan of that language,
Oh wait,
but whatever.
she said that she politely texted her asking to move out and gave her 3 days. 3 days to decide,
Oh.
not 3 days to move out.
So 3 days to decide to if they were. So it was like we're asking you to move out. You have 3 days to decide if you're
going
gonna,
to.
and then probably gave them like a month, which would have been the normal thing to do.
I can't ding. You're asking someone to leave. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. OP has a right to their reaction, you know? Maybe it is intense, you know, but it's like, well, I think we know her answer.
Yeah.
Looks like it's a no.
Yeah. And I think you have every right to take your stuff away.
Yeah.
It's your stuff.
Yeah.
You're ready to move out.
And they don't really have a right to be mad. If they said, what they should say is like, hey, you know, that was a little bit abrupt. We didn't want, you know, we're sorry. But like, honestly, when it hurts, it just hurts. That there's really no way around it. Asking someone to move out, it hurts. It's a rejection.
Yeah.
It's kind of a brutal rejection too, because it's like
about you.
it's about you. And it's not like, oh, I don't want to marry you. I don't want to have kids with you. It's just like, I don't want to be
like
around you.
you.
You need to go be somewhere else is where you need to be.
Yes.
Oh,
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I don't think OP did anything wrong. I don't think anyone did anything
I
wrong.
don't think so
I would say
either.
no assholes here, honestly.
yeah, I think so.
All right, guys, we got a juicy app for you today. We pulled some sister stuff here because these girls are sisters.
We are
and,
sisters.
you know.
Sisters. Never met such devoted sisters.
Okay, well, Harmony is apparently not part of the family, but that's okay. They tried.
We try.
The timing was good. The rhythm was there.
I have no idea how to harmonize at all.
Oh, me neither. I'm just like, we're
I've
going to do the
never-
same sound.
Yeah,
same
let's
sound.
just
Let's
do
go.
the same thing.
Our second story of the day, AITA for wanting my graduation dinner to be about me and not about my quote unquote impressive sister.
Ugh.
But first,
Story of my
folks,
life.
oh boy. Please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 160, coming up on 170 bonus
Chelsea
eps.
is a patron.
Yes, I am.
She sure is.
So good. And we have a bonus episode with Chelsea where you can learn a little bit more about the surf school.
That's Ohana Surf Project, folks.
Yeah,
There we go.
plug it, honey. Also, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, baby.
I'll give Shannon another prop. She's crushing it on the Instagram game. We are.
I think we are
yeah.
going to hit 10K
I'm so
in the
excited
next,
for that 10K.
3 or 4 days,
I'm praying.
I swear. I'm so pumped.
We grinding out here, folks.
Go
We got it on
Shannon.
YouTube.
It's
I'm
her
loving the
birthday.
comments. We got the subreddit popping off. Reddit.com/r/AITA pod. All right, here we go. First itch. AITA for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a quote unquote joke she made. I had an incident on my wedding day in 2017 where my former fiance abandoned me and ran away with his pregnant mistress.
Oh, my.
It's forever ingrained in my mind. I'll never forget how I felt that day. It was a turning point in my life. Now, my family has always been there for me, so I kept close to them. My younger sister is currently engaged and her wedding will be in a few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and fiance pay the wedding dress. This allowed her to be able to buy her dream wedding gown that cost $7,000. It's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it.
Okay.
How does that go? I want it. This happened a few days before we agreed to go buy the dress. We were eating dinner at my parents' home and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding. My sister said that everything was going according to plan and then casually laughed and said, let's just hope he won't run away with the pregnant mistress or something on our wedding day. I was blown away completely. She laughed, and Aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke, while she was mocking what happened with me in my wedding. It happened so fast, I got up and started screaming at her, calling her an idiot, but my parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was a joke, and she didn't think I'd react so intensely. My aunt remained seated, and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water. I like that guy. Drink water. That'll solve that. But I grabbed my stuff, and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for her dream wedding dress. Then I walked out. I heard commotion as I walked, and my dad and cousin followed me outside trying to talk, but I asked to be left alone. Me and my dad spoke. My mom and dad spoke to me saying I was too harsh on my sister over a joke, and said that I know that this is how she is with her dark sense of humor. They said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her and said this ruined her wedding. They want me to reconsider my decision since it might damage my relationship with my sister, but I refused. AITA.
Oh, my.
This one's interesting.
A lot of good layers here.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it was probably too soon to be making this joke. And I mean, I guess that was 6 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you that it was too soon. Should it not have been? Should she have processed this better? Maybe. I think OP was quite transparent in that how they reacted. You know, we talk a lot about trauma versus, you know, event I remember versus what does it all mean? But like, I think her reaction was a trauma response. She kind of describes it in this way where it's like, you know,
Screaming.
Next thing I know, I'm screaming. Yeah. You know, she had a visceral
reaction. Yeah.
reaction. I mean, look, to be honest, I don't know. I hope something like this never happens to me. I don't know anyone who's actually, this is like a movie thing almost, you know, but it does happen. It's a real thing. And
yeah,
you know, I don't know if you can ever get over that. Your whole family is there. It's brutal.
I feel like if like the time to start making jokes about something like that is when like if the OP started making light of it.
Right.
If like they need to be the one to start being like, I'm going to start making light of this, because sometimes that's maybe a good way to get through trauma, you know, is like, oh, now I'm far enough away that I can laugh at this.
Yeah.
But like for you to be the first one to be like, and then be like, it was a joke, waka, 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 you know, like, like, okay, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I just feel like a lot of times it's like if you're not laughing, you're crying kind of thing. And I feel like our family does this a lot, like makes jokes about a serious situation just to like get through it. So I can see myself like maybe making a joke like this and it just trying to be like not mean-spirited.
Yeah.
But this is a weird time to be doing it when you are like about to be happily married.
Well, and also even your example, right? It sounds more like you're talking about like if grandpa's dying, you guys might make a joke about it.
Well,
No?
like one of my friends is going through a breakup right now, and I feel like we've made some jokes like about him, but I think she's kind of doing it too, like laughing along
about
with it
him.
as well, yeah,
that he's a doucher or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the joke, the joke here was just referencing what happened to her. It wasn't really even a joke.
It wasn't really a joke.
I would say I don't
Now
think it
that
was a
I'm
joke.
thinking about
No,
it.
it wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. It was kind of making light of what happened. Like, well, hope the worst thing that ever happened to you doesn't happen to me.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
kind of not really a joke.
It's not really a joke.
And it is a sensitive time where you're about to get what she was about to have, and now.
And I just feel like, I mean, I'm with you. I think you should approach it with caution. If somebody's joking about the death of their parent or whatever, that doesn't mean jump in the pool. Let them joke and laugh with them, but talk, communicate. I don't think you should necessarily be like, well, they're joking about it, so you're like, yeah, fuck your dead dad. Like, nah, be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful. It's a sensitive thing. Maybe they're starting to process it with humor, but I think this is something to be kind of explicit about. And like, this is going to be a thing that requires processing and digesting for years. I mean, this is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. Like no matter what, but to be like left at the altar.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and in front of everybody, like, oh gosh, that's. I mean, now it's not just like some people know about it. Like everybody knows about it, and that's tough.
Everybody knows. I mean, I do think too. This made me realize, because we've done shit like this before. Somebody offers you a ridiculous gift, then they do something, and then you lose the gift. It made me realize there's actually a problem with giving these really nice gifts. You're putting pressure on the relationship, right? Because like, you know, if there's nothing hanging over your head, but if right now I go, Chelsea, you know, you've been the best guest we've ever had, and a year from now we're gonna it's true, but you know, a year from now we're gonna get you a Tesla on the podcast. You know, not that we can afford it, but let's just say I'm going crazy.
You're gonna get her a Tesla before me.
Yeah. Well, no, you already got one, and then
in this situation we already have.
Yeah, no, because this blows up.
Well, she's the best guest.
2021 Toyota Camry hybrid.
Oh yeah.
There we go. But
can I have one of those?
Yeah, you can have one of those. But see, she really is the best. So no, but then that would put this pressure, right? Like we would not be able to have the same relationship, right? Like if somebody offers you a ridiculous gift, it's going to make you feel a little cagey, like, hi, good to see you, Shannon. You know, like because you're gonna feel this pressure. If you don't, you could lose the gift. That's the risk. But like, it made me realize that there actually is a cost to this as the ridiculous gift giver.
Yeah,
if it's hanging,
like it's hanging over your head.
Exactly.
And even if the other person isn't like doing anything specifically to be like holding it over your head, you think that it's there. Like when I gave you the ride to the airport and you were like, I feel like this favor is going to hang over me.
Wow, I forgot about that, but here it is hanging.
It's
Here
hanging.
it is.
Like, when are you going to do me that favor back, Danny?
No, keep it in your pocket, Shannon, for a rainy day. You know, you need it.
No, but I literally was like I wouldn't even ever think that favor needed to be paid back. No, I'm truly. And so I'm saying the sister probably isn't thinking like, I'm getting you this dress and you need to be like somehow paying me back. But I feel like a lot of times when you're getting it, you feel that.
You mean the receiver? The receiver.
I think both. She might not be thinking it, but subconsciously, that's going to put strain on the relationship. I don't think there's any way around that. I mean, if you're filthy fucking rich and it's $1.
I don't think so. I think she's really just trying to do something nice for her sister. Yeah.
But no, I'm not contesting that.
Oh.
She is trying to do something nice, but I think that there is no way where you're giving someone a really nice, look, $7,000.
That's crazy.
That's a fucking ring. That's half a ring. It has to have an expensive wedding ring. Right. That's one of the nicest gifts you would realistically give as like a normal person, right?
Yeah.
That is going to fuck with your relationship. And so I'm ready to hot take this soft conspiracy theory. I don't think it's that crazy. It was 6 years ago. Maybe it's unprocessed, but maybe she also had a reason. Maybe she kind of overextended this gift. That was causing her some grief. And maybe she kind of wanted to reject.
Oh, you're saying she wanted to find a reason?
To an extent. I'm not saying 100%.
Maybe subconsciously.
Exactly. I'm saying maybe some small percent of her saw this as an opportunity, you know? I'm not saying the whole thing.
To be able to back out of a $7,000
I can see that.
dress.
Because, I feel like one of my friends like has a rich family on her one side, and she's always like, the uncle is really like, the power's always in his hands with like bringing them on trips and like buying his kids houses, but then making sure they're all like doing exactly what he wants, or having them come to this event, but they have to do it on his terms. So I feel like maybe it's kind of similar.
It's similar.
Am I going anywhere with that?
Yes, it's the same thing. Like, listen, I love to be giving with my friends, but I'm realizing I've gotten better at it, because if you do it up front, it gets kind of weird. It can create a weird dynamic. But like,
but to like just spontaneously be like, here, let me pick up this bill, or oh, here's something for you.
Well, picking up the bill, but when are you picking up the bill? When the bill's already come and everyone agreed to split it equally, and then you go, you know what, guys, this one's on me.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's a good vibe. I've done it after a trip as well. Been like, yeah, you know, you guys just send me whatever, $200. I'll pick up the rest of the trip.
They're not worried about what they ordered, or
exactly.
Oh, that's a good point.
And it gets rid of the pressure. It's kind of like, I had a good time. I want you guys to know I value you. I'm giving you something. I'm basically giving you what you already got.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas when you're like, when it's hanging over, I think it puts a lot of it puts pressure on you. It puts pressure on the other person. You might, because you can't lie to yourself and expect that that's not going to be reciprocated. You know what I mean? In other words, if you give,
it to be,
of course, you're gonna have that desire for giving someone a $7,000 fucking dress that they treat you some kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't not.
Some people are way worse about that than others.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some people they want to like hang it over your head.
Like there are some people that are just generous, and
and some
maybe
people
they want to receive the generosity back in some kind of way.
Friendship and love or whatever, but
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and I think that's what's nice about, you know, picking up a trip or picking up a bill or picking up part of a bill, whatever. I'm not some kind of saint, you know, it's $20, but the ices are on me, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
But like,
not the Tesla? No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But like, yeah, that, you know, the reciprocity and fairness, it's like it's a deep rooted thing. And so if the sister was treating her unfairly, even a couple slights starts to feel shitty, which by the way, I feel like you're bound to run into some slights, but it's your wedding, right? You're the star of the show.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Now,
can you get that? Pick up that bouquet. Amber, pick it up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
you know, and her getting bothered thinking about the $7,000. Like, I just think it's a weird thing to put. It's a strain.
And a $7,000 on a thing you're gonna wear one time.
So true.
It's my dream
It's a
dress.
ridiculous
Like
gift.
I cannot with the extravagance and the craziness around weddings. Sometimes
Hopefully they can like resell it.
I'm just like, yeah. I mean, hopefully, right?
Or I guess a lot of people hang on to it in hopes that their children will.
Yeah.
Not us.
The
My mom's got her wedding dressing and you.
We got grandma's wedding dress. We got mom's wedding dress. Hanging in the rafters.
We're the only girls left. We're the only ones left, and ain't no one wearing them.
Top comment, Alfred X, quote, "This is how she is with her dark sense of humor." Response quote, "Well, this is how I am with her dark sense of humor. Serious lack of self-awareness and simple respect from sister. Charge remarks come with charge consequences. NTA." I mean, I ultimately agree. I mean, look, I think this is such a ridiculous move of generosity. I think you're playing with fire, though. I think this is an insight for me that I'm walking away with. You're playing with fire, giving someone such a big damn gift.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to do that, you just have to do it without these strings attached. I mean, I understand if you're like completely slighted like this, but at the end of the day, it's your sister. Like, when haven't you pissed them off?
Exactly. And I think that's what I'm on about, Shan, that like, this just seems like you're fucking with like, look, I gave my brother $1,000 laptop one time, but it was because I was done with that laptop. Like, I just think this gift is setting yourself up for trouble because it's $7,000. And I mean, who isn't? That's just a crazy amount of money for almost anyone. You really got to be some 0.1% shit to like not sweat $7,000, you know?
Totally.
I mean, and the point of the present was to make your sister happy. That's like why, she was crying because she wanted this dress so badly. And then you were like, well, let me make her happy. But I guess, right? Like, so then she's like, oh, well, but now you've made me unhappy.
So now I'm going to make you unhappy.
Yes.
I love that you said that. That's shifting me.
Which one?
Because this is a fucking normal sibling kind of joke.
Yeah.
Like, that's your goddamn sister. I'm sure you guys say all kinds of horrible shit to each other.
And I mean, it was around family. I mean, unfortunately, it was public, you know, but I mean, it was among family, not like out at some, you know, social event with like a bunch of other people around. But yeah.
AITA for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a joke she made. I don't know. I got a hot take here. I think I'm backing off. I actually kind of feel like it might be like NAH, ESH paradox. I kind of just feel like it was a reference to something that happened 6 years ago. Granted, it's a horrible trauma, but like the sister, I mean, you guys know about the sister bond. That doesn't seem like that out of pocket for two sisters to joke about this thing that happened.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
that wild.
I would say this is an ESH.
Ooh. Guys, nobody on Reddit's. Nobody.
No.
What did everyone say? NTA?
Nobody.
What did they say?
Everybody
NTA.
said NTA.
That
Really?
the OP wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody has us.
I think ESH. I mean, I really think it's a little bit of like, you know, like, let's just be real.
Yeah.
Shannon,
Everybody
are you with
kind of
us?
sucks
Yeah,
here.
I can see that. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Everybody kind of sucks here. I mean, look, I'm ready to do that on the takeaway as well. It's just like you give someone a ridiculous gift and you're playing with fire. And I never had that realization before, but if it's sitting there hanging, it's like it's gonna fuck with your shit. And I don't think anyone is such a pure saint that no, you're going to expect shit. You're going to.
Yeah.
You're going to.
Yeah, I can see
I'm
that.
seeing if I can find an ESH, guys. I can't find anything. We're the only people on the whole damn internet.
Wow.
Well,
Maybe
we're breaking
we're
the
wrong.
internet.
I know. Write in, guys. Let us know what you think about this one.
I mean, apparently there are ESHs, but I'm 1,000 comments in and haven't. So if I kept scrolling for a couple more years, unfortunately, Reddit does not. All right, guys. Oh, ESH, here we go. 3 of us safely writes, you are entitled to feel hurt and degraded by your sister's comments and jokes. You are not the asshole for telling her you considered withdrawing monetary support from her over her comments. However, shouting and calling people an idiot, even if you are hurt, is not a useful way of managing your emotions. Okay, so they're dinging
The reaction.
on the emotional reaction. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about, too. It's like,
Yeah, her reaction's over the top.
It was big.
I can see in the moment being really upset and getting triggered. Like a lot of times you can't help your emotional trauma.
yes.
And maybe being like, well, guess what? I'm not fucking helping you anymore then. But I feel like
And
we
then
would
maybe the
come
next
back
day,
together and
yeah.
be like, sorry, that was a little over the
Yeah.
top.
And like, whoops,
I
didn't
s-
mean to say that. That was my bad.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
if they both need to have a conversation. And I mean, the sister definitely needs to apologize for what she said. I mean, I actually don't. If I was the OP, I don't know that I would. You don't think she should apologize for that?
No, that's putting me back. I forgot about that part. It was also that the sister doubled down.
Yeah.
She did double down. And that's where I feel like in that moment, maybe she was being defensive. I think if she comes back and apologizes.
Yeah. Then I would be like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have reacted that way. And obviously I will get your gift for you.
Because I think what she did say, she tried to be like, well,
It was just a joke.
yeah. But did she
I didn't
mention
think you'd
like,
react
oh,
so
Is that all she said?
intensely.
what did she say? Like it was like a long time ago, or did she ever mention anything like that?
She laughed and Aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. Actually, no, I don't think we ever got a follow-up.
No, she says, but my parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was just a joke and didn't think I'd react so intensely.
Yeah, so not really apologizing by any means.
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
I can maybe that might be enough. I mean, that is, to me, that's a blatant, like, I'm really sorry. That was a mistake.
Like,
It was
whoops, and obviously you're upset about this. So
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, maybe soft NTA.
Soft NTA. There we go. That way we're still pushing against Reddit a tiny bit.
A little bit.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/AITA pod. All right. Shannon, you ready to read this one?
Sure am.
Here we go.
AITA for wanting my graduation dinner to be about me and not my quote unquote impressive sister. I am going to graduate high school. We are celebrating early since my family is down for my sister's college graduation. I have always felt my sister is better than me at basically everything. I got by with B, she was a straight A student, and so on. No one ever says it, but I know they prefer her to me. My aunt is not as an easy person to impress at all. She was a lot of firsts in the family. We were at dinner and my aunt started to ask about my sister's job she got out of college. The whole rest of dinner was talking about my sister, what she was going to do, and so on. It might as well have been a celebration for her. My uncle asked me about if I was going to college, and I snapped at him saying, why? It doesn't matter. This dinner's about my sister, not me. The table got quiet and my mother told me to apologize. I refused. We got home and I got in an argument with my family who think I was being a jerk. My sister has her own party next week. That's why I thought my graduation party would be about me. AITA.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
I mean, I will say, I do think OP made a mistake. It sounds like Uncle was actually reading the room and was trying to transition the conversation back to OP, which OP then shut poor Uncle down. I was saying,
How old is her uncle? This is her great uncle.
Great uncle.
Great uncle Jimmy.
He hadn't said anything the whole dinner, and he's like, I've got this one. I know the right thing to do.
Poor guy.
It's about my sister, Uncle Jack. Can I get a Diet Coke, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, yeah. There's a comment, right, from someone that pretty much says that. I feel like.
Queen of Green 16 writes, it's ESH, except the uncle. How are the others not being assholes? A lot of y'all are clearly missing how the convo went on, led by the aunt. Why in the hell would it be okay for praises to be sung constantly for someone whose celebration it's not even for? I'm very with that. I think this is inappropriate. And you know who falls into this kind of level of casual inappropriateness?
Who?
Family.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, who? Yeah.
Who could it be?
Who could it be? Oh, family,
so
sure.
true, though. It's so true. Yeah, no one can hurt your feelings like family can.
Yeah.
You know, because I do feel like if it was friends, I feel like they would be a little bit more reserved and conscious. But I feel like the aunt's like, what? We're here. Your sister's here. You're here. What?
And we came down for your sister's graduation anyway. Yeah, well, growing up, Chelsea was definitely the more quote unquote impressive sister.
Oh, that's right. You've said this before.
Yes.
Because you have some lingering, insecurity and stuff.
Yeah.
With her.
Yeah. So, well, she was a straight A student.
Oh.
Very hard worker.
Oh,
and I misinterpreted
heart
that
is
as
shifting.
that I was like an idiot, basically.
Oh.
But I was a fine student. Like I always got like A's and B's.
Oh.
But I wasn't a hard worker.
But she got all A's.
But she got all A's. She was like third in her class in high school.
Oh,
So good at every sport.
Wow.
Like she
You're good
gets
at
this
every
from my
sport?
dad. Yeah. Like she picks up a ball and she would be the best player on the team and they would be training for like 5 years and she would just be the best.
So you were the annoying perfect girl?
Not
don't know
perfect
about
because
that,
she had her
no.
weird quirks about her.
What was so weird about you?
Well, she always had like kind of
Can
a
she
dark
talk
sense
for a
of
second?
humor.
Can she talk maybe? I think she talks.
Well,
Go
Shannon was
ahead.
always in charge, so that's okay.
I'm the younger
I did
one,
well.
but
I did well in school. I did well in sports, but she was the boss. So
Damn.
that's true.
also she led the way in all of the the debauchery.
The
How do you-
debauchery, yeah. Like you would have thought I was the older sister with a lot of the
You brought
So-
in the
yeah, like
booze
I
Wait,
was
she
and
goes to
the
me
boys.
when we were like, how old? I think
I
I
don't
was
know what
like
you're talking about.
16, and she goes, Chelsea, it's time that we get you a real bra. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, Shannon, will you take me shopping for a real bra then?
Yeah. Wow.
She was only
Like-
wearing like sports bras.
Oh, I still only wear them.
I mean, I
Like,
do now
yeah,
too.
They're the best.
But back in the day, it was like, you had to get like you should get the cups, the underwires, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
time.
yeah,
So I
that
think she
real
took me to
bra.
Victoria's Secret, and we got
her
my
a real
first real bra.
I like was drinking and smoking weed well before I like lost my virginity before her. I was just
Oh, I thought that sentence was still. I was still in the bra store, so I was
Yeah.
picturing you like drinking, smoking weed at Victoria's Secret.
She was
Wait.
just, just
Just
hanging
what-
out.
Can we
Just
get into some
waiting
bra
for her.
mechanics? I know all our listeners are women, but I'm curious.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about, the cups and the wires.
yeah.
Why would you get those over a sports bra?
Well, because I don't know. Back in the
Better
day, I
shape.
guess better
Better
shape.
shape.
They,
and,
they make your boobs look bigger?
yeah,
Okay.
and more
Or just
shapely.
more shapely,
Shapely.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chelsea was just like she was really good at gymnastics, for example. And so when we would go to
Jesus.
family events,
Yeah.
like everyone always wanted to see her like do her gymnastics. So she would like get out on the lawn or like the parking lot, like concrete of the parking
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
and be doing like her whole
Chelsea.
floor routine. And so
And she had straight A's.
she had
She's
straight
got it all.
A's. And so I was just always, and she was more outgoing,
In a lot of ways.
more
Not
like
socially.
friendly. Well, with people though.
But yeah,
I was
I
great with
was-
strangers.
Yeah.
And I was great with old people and young people. People my age was like not where I shine. Shannon, on the other
Wow.
hand, was like the social
more-
butterfly.
Yeah. Well, as I got older,
Yeah,
but when I was
but
young.
even younger.
But
Yeah.
so anyway, at family events, like a lot of times the spotlight was like on you with your gymnastics and whatever, all of that.
Yeah.
But it actually didn't really bother me that much because
Yeah.
I was a little bit more shy. So I liked that she
Interesting.
the attention was on her.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
It worked with our dynamic.
I'm
Yeah.
struggling to
It worked.
understand. This is a complex thing.
It was complex,
is.
but it worked.
but then like with sports, for example,
Okay.
like we were not necessarily competing. Like I just always knew I wasn't as good as her. And that was like where she shined.
and she was 2 years younger, so
Yeah. And then at one point, though, I was just like, well, I'm just going to start doing different interests because it did get kind of annoying to have to just
smart.
always be the not as good one in the sisterhood.
Yeah, like at one with Shannon started horseback riding, and then I jumped on a horse one day, and my mom was like, "You're not allowed to do this for like at least a few years." I was like, "Okay."
Let Shannon have a head
Yeah,
start.
they were like, let Shannon have this, and I was like, "Okay, no problem."
And same thing with like acting.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
into that when I was like 10 or
Which
11.
I'm horrible. Like I'm not.
You're not-
that's not your
strength.
I try. I mean, maybe I'm not horrible, but like, do not
Terrible at
pay me
accents.
to do anything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So it was just like, I'm just going to get my own interests kind of thing.
So where do you guys meet now? Like, because you guys have been spending a lot of time together on because you're here for what, a week or something?
No,
only a
she's-
day.
Yeah, she just
But-
had a layover
What?
here. She
Well,
was in
oh my
Mexico for
God.
a trip.
Oh,
and
thank you for
it's a
doing-
layover.
Thanks for doing the podcast.
Yeah,
She
I
wanted
wanted
to
a day
do
just for
it.
you, Danny.
So yeah, apparently what you guys have going, hey, you want to hang out with Danny? I guess.
Well, Shannon was like, "Oh, darn, that's gonna be the night that we record." You know that I was coming in, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, here's a crazy idea." I was like, "Do you want to have me on the pod?"
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys had a lot of different things. So, and then you were really precocious. That's sticking with me.
Precocious.
Well, yeah, you were pushing her to do bras and shit. And then
Oh,
you were like,
yeah.
let's get fucked up. Like you were kind of, I don't know. Yeah, you're
I was
dynamic.
a rebel.
She was a
Yeah.
rebel.
I was always way, even as a kid, I was the bad behaved one.
Well, yeah.
Whoa, yeah.
Fascinating. Coming back to the situation.
So yeah, back to that.
I do
But
feel
I can see how, this would be frustrating of just like,
Super
geez,
frustrating.
you're always talking about my freaking sister.
And this is supposed to be about me tonight.
it's a
Yeah.
party for her. I mean, and look, I was actually just telling about this on another pod that, I went to my brother's show one time. My brother and I, we're a little competitive, but I don't think it's too bad because, he's 8 years my junior. It's a big
Oh
gap.
wow.
And he does more improv. So whatever. So we just don't really directly compete. But I went to his show and one of his friends was a listener of the pod. And I actually thought this was great. I brought up the pod to her and then she goes, hey, I don't think we should talk about the pod. It's your brother's show. And I was like, okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was a little huffed, honestly,
That's
at the
kind of
time.
weird.
But I thought she was right. I was like, you know what? You're right. Because we're at his show. We should be talking about his
Were
show.
you in front of him?
Not at the time, but there was he was going to come out. It was right after the show. He was going to come out and run into us, I thought she was being conscious. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe overly conscious.
Maybe overly conscious.
Maybe
Yeah,
overly
I
conscious.
think so,
but
too.
but it's an important thing to take in. Why are we at this event? What are we here to do? We're not here to talk about Danny's fucking podcast. We're here to talk about Andy's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Now,
can see that.
By the
I
way, you
think-
can have a joke that me and my brother do if you guys want it. I always
Oh,
refer
yeah?
to him when I call him. I'll be like, Andy, my brother.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
every
yeah,
single
yeah.
time. So if you guys
Chelsea,
want.
my sister. Actually, I don't call her Chelsea.
Shannon. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
I
from
call her
Jersey. You're
Chow.
from Jersey.
Chow?
Ciao.
Chow.
What
And
does she call you?
she's Shen Shen Bebe.
Yeah.
Shen Shen baby and Chow?
Yes.
All right.
Don't ask any questions.
I don't want to. I don't feel like that's a road we should go down. So I think Aunt is being inappropriate here. I think this is
Yeah.
familiarity breeds contempt. I think she's too comfortable.
Yeah.
She's losing that consciousness and that appropriateness. And look, I do think the sister got huffed, or I'm sorry, OP got huffed. If this line of inquiry was being explored, that's fucking frustrating, It'd be like if Shannon had her first horse riding show and everyone's like, hey, you gonna do some gymnastics?
Yeah, exactly.
It's frustrating. It's just that's not appropriate. So
Yeah, and I think our family was always good about not doing that, though.
Yeah, what is this event about? Let's keep it about that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, depending on how large the event is, you're going to talk about other things. It's not like we're
Right.
only going to talk about Shannon and her accomplishments tonight. We're going to sidebar about all kind of things. But to do it as we're all sitting down together, big dinner, maybe it's all one conversation, not separate little ones. Yeah, maybe it should be a little bit more heavily on that person that this event is about.
Right. At least
But-
in the beginning. At least talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
it for a good period
Give
of
a
time. Get all the
toast.
info. What are you
Yes.
going to do after graduation? Where are you going to college? We're so excited for you, blah, blah, blah.
Then
and then
move.
you can shift off into other conversations.
I mean, if it's at a table, it's not. This is how I picture this. I get
picture
it.
it,
Big
yeah.
table.
Yeah.
I think you want to be a little careful in this situation. If it's
I know,
a
but,
private
how
combo,
long can you talk about one person for?
well, it's just you
Yeah.
don't want to let the conversation go to the sister's graduation because that's very obviously going to be comparative,
Right.
right?
And
So-
she already has these feelings of that they really love her
Exactly.
more. I
Yeah.
never felt that way with my
Yeah,
family
her-
that they liked her more than they liked me.
No.
And I think it might have been a perfectly appropriate thing too for someone who's being aware to go, hey, Trixie is, I don't know why that's my stock name. Trixie is having her graduation party. So why don't we talk about that at that party? and do a little redirect, because I think you just got to.
Which is what the uncle was trying to do. But I
Exactly.
see that how she was like just stewing in it.
Well, and it sounds like the uncle did it after like we'd been in Sisterland for like
Right.
30 minutes.
And it's a
so-
trigger for her. And she
yeah.
probably was just waiting for someone to do it so she could be like, why does it matter? No one's talking about me. I would do that.
Because everybody should have had that consciousness. They should have. They should have read the damn room, and it was her party. AITA for wanting my graduation to be about me and not about my quote-unquote impressive sister. I'm honestly going to give OP a little pass on this. I think the family fucked up here. I don't know if it was the aunt specifically, but it was a dynamic, and it was rude, and it was disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
TA.
think so too.
And the family is. Not the uncle, though.
No, not the uncle.
The little uncle.
Little sweet boy.
Oh,
What did
I
this
feel
go?
like I
YTA?
would maybe go no assholes here on that one.
I think this went YTA.
Yeah, because it could be a perceived. You know,
Because I think if you look at the way she wrote, she's very insecure about like the way that, like, again, you and I have our dynamic. We don't have those same insecurities, but like she's clearly insecure. And I mean, who knows? This conversation could have been all of 2 minutes long. I mean, she's saying they're going on and on and on about it, but you know, I don't know.
She could be picture painting.
She could be
a bit.
picture painting a bit. And I mean, I do think that it's natural for you to talk about other things. Sometimes I know like they should have done better. They could have done better, but should we call them assholes for not having done better? I don't know. I'm feeling like they could have done better, but I wouldn't call them an asshole for that.
The top comment was, shoes are the worst. YTA, your uncle was trying to make sure your accomplishments were being recognized too, and you snapped at them. You feel insecure. That's no one else's problem than yours. I don't really agree with that, though.
No,
honestly,
I don't agree with
I
that.
feel like, look, everyone is going to have insecurities. You know, Shannon will never love me. That's my core. That's part of my core wounds. Even though I just got close with Shannon like a year ago, I was born ashamed of the fact.
I've always been.
My parents raised me to not be loved by Shannon. No, but it's like, you've got to be aware of people, you know? And I think they should be fucking aware of that. If you're the aunt and you know that there's a sibling rival, I mean, look, we've talked about it. What are the characters? Megan and Kate or whatever. Remember, it was the sister who was always kind of getting trounced by the other sister. And it's like, you've got to have some consciousness of these things as a mature adult. And I think I am ready to ding. And that's your right if you don't want to, Chelsea. But I'm like, you need to be aware of the dynamics here and be respectful. And honestly, like, if it's a celebration for them and your family, instead of using your familiarity to be lazy and overly casual, to have the fucking foresight and empathy to be like, hey, let's make sure, you know, I know Amber's a little insecure, but let's not talk about Trixie too much.
And
you
they
know?
do seem like these are the type of this family that do play into the hierarchy thing of that they really do think that this person is better because she's smarter, she's better at sports, she's this, she's
Well, the
like,
aunt is that too,
Definitely.
right? Like the aunt was also
she's
maybe
probably
that
the
same
sister in the
one.
dynamic, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
of just
Yeah.
like, well,
I
this
mean-
is just how it is. And like, you know, we love when our daughter's going to Brown and blah, 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 blah. Whatever they say.
I love this too, though, what you guys said too, because it was, you know, and what you did has now changed your life. And it's interesting because like you're a surf school owner, instructor. I'm sorry, I forgot your exact title.
I'm the general
Queen.
manager. Queen. I'm
Surf
the
school's
queen.
queen.
I'm the surf school queen.
You know, because you were always an athlete and like that's what you do and you love it and you're a professional actor now and podcaster, etc., like personality. And so it's so cool, and it makes you realize too that all the hierarchies that seemed so like rigid and real at some point in your life was like totally bullshit. And in fact, you guys both just faced your interests and like both found things you love.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's so true. I'm happy that I don't know if I figured out on my own or what, but I was just like, I need to start doing my own thing. Because I was always like, I always wanted to be like her. Like, she got a skateboard, I got a skateboard. You got a surfboard, I got a surfboard. But it was like, I didn't really like those things, but I was like trying to be like you. And then I wasn't very good at it.
I think really
good.
part of it was you. It was the lack of trying.
Yes. Well, I wasn't a hard worker at all as a
Little
kid.
diva.
Yeah. Not a diva, just
No?
like a procrastinator.
Oh yeah, like it would be
I
like the
relate.
night of like she has a project due tomorrow, and it would be like 8 o'clock at
Mom,
night,
I need
and
a
she'd be
poster
like,
board.
Oh God.
And Chelsea would get the project assignment that day, goes home and starts working on it.
Oh my
It's
God.
due in
You
like
were that
3 months.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it left me time for having fun later and stressing less.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not the teacher's pet on my podcast.
Hey, you better believe it.
That's that's kind of weird though that you turned into a birder, bro.
Oh yeah.
From teacher's pet to
but I was both. So I wasn't one or the other. I was both.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So that's why I was a weirdo for sure.
Yeah.
But like I could still,
Well, we both got class clown.
Oh yeah, that's actually.
so you were funny too. Wow.
But in a different way. I'm not like classically funny. I'm like silly. I'm not even call me funny. I'm silly.
Goofy,
so I'm silly like a
Goofy.
clown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Physical comedy.
I do outrageous shit.
I'm so excited for our big snow trip. Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 160 bonus episodes. We got one with Chelsea that is fire. Don't miss it. Follow us on Instagram.
TikTok, baby.
TikTok. YouTube.
Join Patreon.
Chelsea's on the Patreon. We're loving all her comments.
is.
She
Yeah.
agreed with me recently. I like that. You rarely hear that these days. The anti-Danny media. I'm sick of it. I'm very excited about this though. This one caught my eyes. We were gonna do this in a bonus. I was like, we got to put this on the main. This is interesting
Going
to
on
me.
the main.
Here we go, guys. AITA. For refusing to say please every time I ask my roommate/friend to do a small thing for me. My roommate/friend and I, both F23, moved in together in August of 22. Our lease ends in August of 23. This is one of the main, although small, reasons that I'm considering not renewing our lease. One of many, at least. Throughout the week, not even every day, I asked my roommate, Jessica, to do something small for me. It's nothing big or significant. It's always small things. Some examples are, can you grab my bag off the table for me? Can you load the dishwasher? Can you turn off the outside light? Can you grab me a fork? Oh, can you grab me a cup also? And I'm always told, only if you say please. I listened to it for a few months before I finally spoke up and told her that I didn't feel like I needed to say please for every single thing because I felt like it was implied, and the things I was asking her to do were always small things that I don't think are significant or necessarily warrant me saying please. Her response was that please cannot be implied. I disagree because of the tone of voice, and that I need to say it every single time. I finally told her that if what I was asking her to do as a favor was so out of line for me to ask that I needed to say please, and she wouldn't do it under any other circumstances, I'd literally just do it for myself. I'll ask for small things that I could just do myself, but she may be closer or already doing something similar, or it may be that I'm asking her to do something because it's her mess, but she still demands, say please. I've tried to tell her that if these things are really so crazy for me to ask that she refuses to do them without a formal please, then it seems like she views our friendship too conditionally. I don't need people to say please. I'll do things for them without them asking or without them saying please because I care about them and want to help them. I'll do things for her without saying please, but she doesn't view it the same. The constant say please seems like something a parent would do to teach her child manners. I'm an adult. I'm a whole ass adult. I don't need to be taught manners. I'm a polite person. I'm very kind. And I say please and thank you in situations where it makes sense to say it. At work, when engaging in more formal conversation with elders, when talking to kids, etc. But typically not when I'm having a casual conversation with a friend. AITA for refusing to say please every damn time. Juice.
No, I'm like conflicted about this one. Because I actually think that I do this with Max. Like I'll be like,
Right,
please?
your boyfriend. Yeah.
Did I hear a please? Yeah. So now I'm like, am I in the wrong for doing that?
Is it, so, I mean, look, I think OP, my initial concern with OP, and I have been in a relationship where this was a thing.
Oh
yeah. I think some people slip into this. Can you grab my bag off the table for me? Now, if you're asking this because I'm standing right by the table and I can literally throw it at you and that takes almost no effort, fine. That's fair. But if we're both sitting on the couch and you want me to go get up and go to the dining room table and get your bag for you.
well, why would they want that?
Well, I think
Some people do that, Shannon.
Really?
Well, yeah. Well, in the example you gave, right? You were saying, because OP clarified, right? We're talking about situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes people act entitled.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've done, how many OPs have we done like this? Babe, remember the one? It was like, babe, go to the car and get my purse.
yeah.
Why,
Yeah,
babe?
she kept
Why don't you get your
forgetting.
fucking purse?
Yeah.
But she does say in here that she doesn't ask her to do things that wouldn't be more convenient for her to do. So she's not saying like we're sitting together and then I'm like, hey, go grab that thing for me. That's just as easy for me to do. She's meaning like, you're over there by the dishwasher and I want you to grab me a cup or whatever.
You're
and
in the
so
kitchen.
you're there. So I was like, hey, can you grab me a cup while you're in there or whatever, right? So that's what it sounds like from how she's describing. That's what I would say. So I don't think that she's asking her to do things that are out of the ordinary. I mean, I asked my roommate to do things, you know, and
do you say please?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm not like a person that adds please to things frequently. Like I think I'm a little bit more like the OP here.
I think a lot of times what I do is I'll be like,
I'll say thank you once they
can
did
you grab
it,
that
maybe.
for me? And then like and then I'm like please or something like that, like afterwards. Not like begging, but like as if I almost was realizing I needed to say it a little bit later.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, can you grab that for me, please? Like a little after the fact. Because I wouldn't naturally be inclined maybe to say please every single time. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably say please. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, let me go to the other side. I guess I do feel like please is kind of a thing to say with like acquaintances and formal, right? Like, you know, I mean, Shannon, we're working so hard on these TikToks. We're sending them back and forth. I'm giving you all kinds of notes and I don't expect you to say please or thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I try to throw you some gratitude because, you know, I know you're working hard, but like you get comfortable with someone and it's like, because here's the thing. If you're asking me to do something that you should be doing, it don't really matter if you say please or not. It's still inappropriate. I don't feel like the please actually matters all that much. It's just a sound.
Yeah. Well, I think as long as you're asking it in a nice way.
I think that's what she's saying. Like it's implied.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm not demanding it from you because that's different than a question. Like she's posing these all as questions, right? Like she's saying like, oh, could you grab that for me? Instead of being like, oh, grab that for me, which is how I talk to the people that I work with, you know, like I'll be like, hey, get me that surfboard, you know? And like, I'm just because I'm like, I need to move things
you're in charge,
quickly.
though. You're the manager.
I'm in charge.
Yeah.
You're their boss.
But,
Well, I'll say stuff like that too if we're setting up because it's like we got to go. I mean, we're all here for the same goal. So I'm like, hey, Shannon, put that mic in. It's like there's certain situations where saying please is frankly kind of ridiculous. So I see OP's side. I guess the one that I'm struggling with is can you turn off the outside light? So I guess she's saying that she's by the lights already.
She's like, oh, well, you get it. You're right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think that this, I mean, you know, like I think of like living with a roommate and we're constantly asking each other things like that. And I mean, I think neither of us have ever even worried that the other person said please or not. And maybe in some cases we say it, in some cases we don't. But I don't think there's like a need for that formality. I think it's a formal thing in reality.
The roommate is being a little bit petty with the only.
And I mean, I think what they said at the end about it, like it feels like you're being my parent. That is the part that would bother me, I think. Like if every time, you know,
it's
I was saying something.
Can I go to the bathroom? I don't know. Can you?
Yeah. Or like, oh, but only if you say please. But yeah, again, it's like
a gotcha.
Oh, you're teaching me manners. You know, like, yeah, we are both adults here and you're feeling like you need to teach me manners. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. I do feel like I wouldn't necessarily love that being somebody's response every time I was asking them.
Yeah.
You know, something. So.
Yeah, because it does feel very much parent kid.
Yeah. I mean, like if you think about like culturally too, like I've learned Spanish. I've been learning a bit of Japanese and stuff. And like,
oh, wow.
To me, they're two totally different cultures when it comes to being polite.
Sure.
Like Japanese are so polite, especially in a formal situation. Like you say kudasai, you say please for anytime you ask things. They'll give you a pass if you're a foreigner. Like I don't have to as a foreigner because they like are like, oh yeah, she doesn't always know like to do it. But if I were to be proper in speaking Japanese, I would always say please at the end of any question or command, right? Even if I was saying like, oh, like, you know, stand up please, not just stand up, you know? So, but like with Spanish, it's almost like, I mean, they'll say please, sure. But like, it's way less formal in a lot of ways. Like you don't need to have all those formalities, and even less formal than English. I think English is kind of somewhere in the middle. And then you have people, depending on, you know, their families and how they grew up or what part of the country they're from, that maybe that's way more important, you know, like to say please all the time. And other places it might be like, nah, that's reserved for when I'm in professional situations or formal situations,
acquaintances,
or with people I don't know.
Yeah. Even parts of the country, probably like different cultures for sure. Like I saw a TikTok that someone was studying abroad in Australia in America.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't understand why when I say thank you, you guys just say yeah, instead of being like, you're welcome. And she was like, you guys are so rude. Like, what is that about? And then some Americans were responding back being like, well, we see the like, yeah, no problem, like that response as being like, of course, it's nothing to us. Like, we're happy to do it for you. And I think in a lot of times in America, the you're welcome is more like, yeah, you're welcome that I did that for you kind of thing. And like, instead of it just being like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you're welcome feels so formal too, I think, right?
And so it's just a cultural difference of how we use the language.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's formal ultimately. I think OP covered their ground. I think ultimately it does sound like I can't fight any of the examples. Doesn't seem like OP's doing anything weird. I think that this is condescending, and I think actually, Shannon, that you nailed an analogy. It's like the person who always goes, "Can I use your restroom?" You mean may you? And it's like, okay, but you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean, bro. It's been 20 years, Jeremy. Can I use the fucking bathroom?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like a lot of people, if I remember looking at the Reddit, that a lot of people were like against her. Like, why wouldn't you just automatically say please? Or how rude are you? Where'd you grow up? And then I saw this one comment that was like from New Yorkers. And they were like, you're lucky that I even said, can you?
Yeah, right? That's like...
Clem.
Yo, grab that thing off the table for me.
Clem Clamcumber writes, what the hell? Who doesn't just automatically say please? I'm like, okay, that's your own thing. Like, I don't really talk like that. It's also just like I think OP nailed it. It's like, if they were asking you to do something that required a please, then it's probably something they should just do themselves. Like, you just don't, like, most people just don't feel the need to say please, because it's like, if it's a little thing, it's a little thing.
I know, but now I'm wondering like where that comes from, of why I would always have, when Max wouldn't say please, it would bother me.
Well, because probably asking you to do something that wasn't.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it was a little
like,
more involved.
I was just there.
Yeah, well, in a couple, I could see him being like, hey, can you go get the rest of the groceries, please? Or can you go get the rest? It's like, well, aren't you doing the groceries? Why are you throwing this task at me? And it's like, well, whatever. Maybe he had a reason, but
I'm
it's
gonna like keep an eye on this now and see where that little flag in my head pops up of like, I wanted to hear a please after that. Now I'm going to be very aware of people asking me questions now.
There you go. Awareness is good. We're pro awareness here.
We're pro awareness.
I think when you know somebody too, like, you know what I mean? Like when you know someone, you start to understand their intentions, right? Like that they are grateful for your help, right? Like if you don't know somebody
regardless
very
of
well,
having to say
yeah,
it.
Right? Like, I mean, you know, if I ask somebody to do something, you know, afterwards or whatever, like they usually understand or feel that I was grateful for them to have done that, you know, in some way or another, whether I said thank you or whatnot. But I think, when you don't know somebody, sure, that's why you need the formality, because you aren't sure what their intentions are.
I disagree slightly, but I agree in a way, right? So OP tries to frame this as the tone comes across. I'm not necessarily, it's not the tone. The tone doesn't come across. It's that there's an understanding of reciprocity. So if I'm like, you know, Shannon, plug in the mic, like we both have a mutual goal. And if Shannon was like, check the memory cards, right? I would be like, of course I'm going to fucking listen to her. Cause it's like, we're all here to do the same thing, which is record the damn podcast. And it's the same thing for a roommate relationship. It's like, yeah, we got to, you know, turn off the lights and load the dishwasher and do all the tasks associated with being roommates.
Right.
So that the dynamic is understood. So I don't think people are wrong. I think they're expressing the truth. Like Fear writes, YTA, the way you phrase it without please is awful. You sound exhausting and demanding. I believe that they're being sincere. They might come from a culture, like I think the South is kind of famous like this. But like, to me, this is laughable. They write, consider a would you mind or when you have a moment. I would not talk to my friend that way. I would talk to my coworker that way.
Yeah.
I would talk to the graphic designer like, hey, when you have a moment, can you do this thumbnail for me?
Yeah.
Because we're not fucking homies.
Yeah, and actually, sometimes when my friends are like too
formal?
polite
You're
with
like,
me
"What's
and
going on?"
formal, I'm like, well, even I'm like, you're kind of annoying. Like, I don't really even want to be that close of friends with you because you're just so polite. Like, come on, we're buddies. Like, are we buddies? Maybe we're not as close as I thought we were because you're being so damn polite to me. Right?
The rudeness of politeness.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something.
No,
It's
the
true.
politeness of rudeness, I think.
Sure, it can
Yeah.
work both ways. That was kind of rude how you corrected me.
both.
Fuck
Oh,
you.
no.
Oh, you
It
guys
is
are so
both,
close.
Because I just know you so well from listening to the podcast, Danny.
Exactly. I gotta think about that one.
We're going to write a pamphlet about it.
This one's juicy. I think there's a lot here. I mean, let's see. Curious Crumb writes, I think there's a big difference between the question, would you mind turning off the light switch? Thank you. Or can you pass me that bag? Thank you. Versus demanding with no question at all. Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like OP, I feel like this is a cultural difference. I'm wondering if this is incompatibility.
Yeah.
Because like, to me, I'm very much with OP. I find it really gross and weird. I think you're with me, Shannon, based on what you said. I think we're all lined up that like this over formality is actually like kind of uncomfortable and impersonal and cold. But I think I think there's a valid cultural difference here that like people in the South or whatever,
Wherever she's from, or just the way she was raised.
Yeah,
like,
it could just be her
regardless.
family.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
please,
one
thank
family.
you, please, sir, ma'am, like some
Mrs. Mister.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
AITA for refusing to say please every time I ask my roommate friend to do a small thing for me. Oh, I'm
what
stuck.
are we?
Oh,
I think
God.
it's NTA. That's what I would say.
NTA, so not the
is-
asshole,
I
and
think
then the
the
roommate is
softly one.
because they're
I
being
don't-
Because she's
condescending.
being a little like teacher
Yeah.
vibes.
I mean, I feel like it might depend a little on her delivery too. Like maybe the whole time she's just been trying to like bust chops or something like, but the OP hasn't picked up on it. Cause that's the only way that I would see them not being an asshole at all is if they're just trying to be like, only if you say please. And like, they just think that's their thing. Like, this is our thing. Like you say something, I say, only if you say please.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what?
like-
I think I am ready to go NTA because I feel like OP did try. I quote, I listened to it for a few months before I finally spoke up and told her I didn't feel like I needed to say please.
So there was thought. There wasn't
There
just
was
like
thought.
immediate like, okay, no, F you, I'm not going to do that.
OP gave it a shot, and I do feel like roommate was indulged, and I feel like now it's the roommate's turn to indulge the fact that we don't need to be that fucking formal. Like I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
It's obnoxious.
so.
Yeah.
It's obnoxious.
I would find it obnoxious.
You're forcing people to be overly formal. That's tiring.
Yeah.
AITA for refusing to say please every time I ask my roommate friend to do a small thing for me. I think we are in alignment. Not the asshole, and they are.
Yeah. I think so.
The great politeness debate. Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having
thanks,
me.
Charles. Ciao.
Oahu,
ciao.
Oahu
Ciao.
Surf
Oahu.
Society.
So
What is it?
we're called Ohana Surf Project.
Ohana Surf
Yeah.
Ohana
Project.
means family, like in Lilo and Stitch.
Ohana means family. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's such a good
What is that little?
surf school.
What is that little creature on that Lilo and Stitch?
It's an alien.
Oh, it is an. I was gonna be like, that thing is fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's an
Wait,
alien.
they're making a live action Lilo and Stitch that they're filming in Hawaii
Oh,
right now.
wow.
It's gonna be weird. I think I'm
You
like,
should be
gonna be super interested
an
in-
extra or something. They probably need surfers, don't they?
especially for the Hawaiian roller coaster ride song. That's my favorite.
Yes. Flying roller coaster ride.
There is no place I'd rather be.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know
Out
the
on a
words.
surfboard by the sea.
Hawaii. I asked earlier, by the way, on the
Hawaii.
bonus episode. It's not Hawaii. Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Or it could
Hawaii.
be like And some people say like Hawaii, like it's a soft V.
Oh.
But you can do Hawaii or Hawaii.
Wait.
And if they do it, it'd be like,
Hey, you know, I'm from an island originally. Cuba.
oh, Cuba.
Oh, we got the
Yes.
We got
Now,
the
wait, were you
Islanders.
born in Cuba?
No, my parents were though.
Yeah. Have you been?
No, they don't want us to go. They're scared we could be held by the government.
Well, you
Oh, shit.
not being born there?
They don't want us to go. They
Okay.
don't want us to support the
Yeah,
government.
I
Respecting
gotcha.
the decision.
Gotcha. Maybe at some point, I think you'd be safe. Maybe not your parents.
My mom was like, go to Hawaii and hit pipeline, dog.
yeah.
You know?
But don't hit pipeline. Just
No,
come
don't
to
hit
our
pipeline.
surf school.
It's real, huh?
We're going to take you to the spot you should be at.
I want to do it. I want to go to the surf school.
You should.
Can I get a discount?
Yes, you can. You can get a family friends discount, Danny.
Publicly cheap. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.